All right, today we're embarking on a pretty epic journey. We're not crossing land or oceans, but diving deep into one of philosophy's most powerful metaphors, the Obsidian Sea. Now, this isn't just some abstract idea. Think of it as a challenge, a mythic voyage into the very heart of existence. So let's take a deep breath and begin the descent. So picture this. You're standing at the edge of this dark, churning water, and you face a fundamental choice. It's really two ways of living. On one side, you've got the Socratic rationalist. This is the observer, the person who believes that with their cold lantern of logical optimism, they can stand safely on the shore and measure the chaos, figure it all out. But then there's the other path, the Dionysian traveler. This person understands a much deeper truth, that some things in life can't be solved like a math problem. They have to be experienced. The sea, you see, can only be entered. And so our hero has to make a choice, and we begin with that decision, the plunge, that one single momentous step away from the safety of the shore and into what the Source calls primal unity. And that decision immediately forces our traveler, and us, to ask the big question: what is this terrifying sea that they're about to dive into? The Source calls it primal unity. And just look at this definition. This isn't just water, right? It's an expanse where the sterile boundaries of your own ego are, and I quote, violently dissolved. The idea here is so profound. You don't just swim in the sea. You are consumed by it. You become part of its singular, churning, raw existence. So what does it actually feel like in there? Well, the Source describes it as this pure paradox. It's home to both terrifying savagery and a kind of divine madness. It's pure creative chaos. And here's the crucial insight. Life's biggest opposites, creation and destruction, total bliss and absolute terror, they're not separate anymore. They're all mixed together in the exact same tide. So this act of plunging in, it's nothing short of a revolution. It's a conscious choice to, as the Source puts it, shatter the stagnant order of a domestic shadow life. And what does that mean? It means you're abandoning a safe, predictable, but maybe ultimately hollow existence. You're making a trade. You give up that stagnant order for the chance to experience something terrifyingly, beautifully real. But, okay, just getting into the sea? That's only the beginning. Once you're under the surface, the journey is far from over. In fact, now the real struggle begins. The pressure of the depths. This is a battle for vitality itself. Way down there, deep beneath the waves, the traveler confronts an enemy. And it's not some monster, not a kraken. It's an internal one, the spirit of gravity. This is that insidious voice of despair, that feeling that tells you all this struggle is meaningless. It's the force that tries to turn this vibrant, chaotic sea into nothing more than a hollow, crushing void. But our traveler isn't defenseless. They have a weapon, the will to power. And this, right here, is the core of the entire struggle. This force, it doesn't get rid of the pain or the pressure. No, it reframes it. It literally transforms the crushing weight of the depths into a stimulant for vitality. The very thing that was meant to crush you becomes the source of your new strength. I mean, it's a violent, creative process, and this quote just captures it perfectly. The sea becomes a metabolic fire. It eats the raw flesh of your old individual self, not to destroy you, but to forge something entirely new from those flames, a heroic affirmation of life in all its messy totality. Surviving that kind of pressure, well, it fundamentally changes our traveler. And this brings us to the climax of the whole journey, the metamorphosis, which ends in this joyful state called the dance of the child. This slide basically maps out the entire transformation. We start as that fearful rationalist, standing safely on the shore. But after conquering the depths, we emerge as the overman, someone now strong enough to literally dance on the very waves that once threatened to drown them. And that leads to the final, most amazing stage, becoming the child, who looks at this chaotic, dangerous sea and doesn't see a threat, but a playground for endless creation. This peak state of being, it has a name, amor fati, which translates to a love of one's fate. And think about what that really means. It's the ability to look back at everything, the terror, the struggle, the pain, and see it not as random suffering, but as necessary, intentional brushstrokes in a beautiful cosmic work of art. In this final state, the transformed soul finds this perfect harmony. The Source describes it so beautifully. They become a wheel rolling out of its own center. There's no more struggle, no more resistance.
It's just this effortless movement, perfectly in sync with the rhythmic pulse of life itself. So, what's the ultimate lesson from this whole journey? It's about taking this entire transformative experience and actually living it. It's about learning to write with the sea, to embody what the text calls the sacred yes.
And here we see it all come down to this final choice, the two ultimate paths for a human being. On the left, you have the last man, the one who never took the plunge. He hides away in his safe little porcelain tower, completely starved of intensity, forever afraid of the abyss. But on the right, that's our hero, now a writer of blood. They've learned to turn agony into a stimulant. They've found the spirit of music, that deep joy that can only be born from embracing absolutely everything.
The whole journey leaves us with this final piece of wisdom, almost a command for how to live. Let thy life be an ocean and thy death a return. The meaning is crystal clear. Only the twice-born, those who have gone through this fire, this transformation, can truly find the strength, the lungs, as it says, to breathe in this vast, eternal perspective.
And that leaves us, doesn't it, with one last provocative question. A question this entire journey forces us to ask ourselves. When you look at the chaos and complexity of your own life, are you standing on the shore, trying to measure it all from a safe distance? Or will you dare to enter the depths?